know, I can see what these people are doing. See, she moved her sweater. Or when you're in a social setting, everyone can see everyone. But in my world, it's only the 6 people. They're all talking, different conversations. And for me to even make the effort and to be a part of it, to enjoy the environment, I've learned to speak loud. I've learned to do my best with this short little, I don't know, stubby finger hand to have a firm handshake, to at least allow people to think, oh, yeah, maybe she's a little more brighter, a little stronger than I kind of perceived. And talking, I always thought, I've got to say something good. Because if I'm not saying something good, what do you do when your face takes off, looks away from everyone else? You look down. Well, what is down? There's only one thing that's down, and that's me. I better have something good to say. I better be, I don't know what, whatever the conversation's going, and I tell you, I miss so much. I have my own charity foundation, and I'm thrilled that was an opportunity that I took from doing TV. But I have a VP, well, of course I have a VP, I have a board. My VP, I love her to death. I go to as many foundational events that I can. They all want you to get tons of money because they all think that because you're on a TV show, you have money rolling out the dough. But I say, do you watch this show? That's what the other half of me does. He puts it all into the land, into the house. I have no, but anyway, besides the point. But my VP in the social setting, it is amazing. I will be with her, and it's like I don't know what to do. They will look at her and talk to her about me. Well, would Amy be available for this? Oh, I think Amy does such great stuff. Her charity foundation. I'm like, but I'm right here. But talking to her, they either figure, I don't know what they think. Do I know how to talk? Do I know enough about my own charity foundation? Or is it because the celebrity tag has been put upon me? Well, you don't talk to the celebrity. Oh my gosh, we can't do that. We gotta talk to her. So in my world, from when television started to before it started, changed radically, at least in the perception that people had about dwarfism or about people with disabilities. But in my world, it's still me. I haven't changed a whole lot, hopefully better. But it took me a long, long time to kind of get adjusted to what I tried to do when I was younger to where I am today. It was 2 different worlds where people ignored you and didn't pay attention to you. You weren't the first that they called. Maybe job interviews, they chose someone else because that wouldn't quite fit their image or, whatever it may be. To the other side, on TV, it's like, everyone's calling me, everyone's doing this, and I still have what I had before. But it took me a long time, and that's something that I've constantly had to work through in order to protect myself over the years and break those barriers down. Take this as a good thing, Amy, that the television hopefully has opened the doors just a little bit more, not only on dwarfism, because we truly use that to educate and advocate for little people, but I was hoping it also educated and advocated for anyone of physical difference or has physical challenges or has a disability that people may turn away, may be afraid of, may be hesitant in socializing with them. I think we opened it up a little bit more. Is there plenty of room to go? You bet. There's several other little people shows that have come after ours. If you guys remember the show Boston Legal, they had a little person as the lawyer called, I know her as a friend, Meredith Egan. I was thrilled that she got that part because it could have been anyone in a wheelchair, I don't care what kind of disability, it just happened to be a little person. But it took someone that normally people don't perceive to be in that kind of position and made her into a lawyer. So yes, it was a TV show, yes, but it's those little steps that make the dream at the very end, whatever that is. Maybe it's more opportunities for people with disabilities. Maybe it's people willing to take just that a little extra step, that little extra time, that little extra training. And I tell you, what they will get out of people with disabilities is a lot more compassion, a lot more loyalty, a lot more doing the best that they can, even if they do feel they are giving their all because they don't want to go through what they have to go through over and over again, whether it be a job, whether it be social relations, other relationships, families, whatever it may be, the community, whatever it may be. We have another show on called The Little Couple. Jennifer and Bill Klein. I know them very well. She happens to be a doctor out there in Houston, Texas. And I think he's more of an entrepreneur and stuff. Either on TV, I have no idea, but anyway. It's crazy how people want to be on TV. Even me. But I'd say no, it's more mad. But anyway. But once again, it gave an opportunity to see little people, dwarfs, other than these fantasy type of things. Nothing's wrong with the fantasy show, but that's all you saw little people in. You know, my son, Zachary, still gets calls about being an elf or during Christmas time or the leprechaun during St. Patty's Day or whatever else. And nothing's wrong with that, as long as that is not all they see in him. I want people to see so much more than what they're used to seeing. Medieval times, listen, I have no special powers. I wish I did. One special power I wish I had was bewitched. Do you remember that show, Bewitched? Winkle that little nose. It's done. It's all clear. My house is spick and span. That's the power I want. That ain't happening anytime soon. So social setting, little people, big world, were huge, huge things in my world. Growing up, there was one thing that I try and organize my stories, which comes first or which comes next. There was one thing that I always wanted. I grew up, regular neighborhood. I grew up in the state of Michigan. All of my family is average height. I'm the only little person. Again, I lived this double life. And it wasn't because of my parents and their upbringing of me. I think it was more me at this defensive mechanism that I built up over time. There was one thing that I really, really wanted as a kid, because this one thing would make me, I thought, be a part of a group, have more friends, be able to keep up. It would be kind of cool and stylish back in those times and everything. And that was a bike. Now, a bike may seem so simple, but for me as a little person, I can't go out there. My dad and my mom couldn't just go out there and get any old bike and say, here it is, ride it. I wouldn't even be able to get on the seat on half of them. My feet wouldn't reach the pedals. So I'd wait till I got a little bit older, and I still rode this tricycle or this very little training wheel bike, and now it was a two-wheel bike, but I wanted the big one like all the other kids. And eventually, until I got older, probably about 8 years old, 10 years old, I finally got that bike. It was a Schwinn bike. It was baby blue. It had the coolest and best flower banana seat on it. I thought, this is going to be great. It had streamers coming out of the handlebars, you know, the higher handlebars, so I wouldn't have to lean over. It had that silver bar in the back of the banana seat. It even had a little bell on it. Oh, I love that little bell. Because I couldn't necessarily get off the bike easy, so that bell really helped because it said, people, I'm coming. You better get out of my way. My feet barely touched the pedal, but I didn't care because I loved that bike. Now I was able to ride around the neighborhood, go to my friend's house a lot quicker, come home a lot quicker so I wouldn't be late. My mom called out the back door and says, hey, man, come home. Of course, parents just text kids now, when are you coming home? But I loved that bike, and I thought, boy, this is going to be it. I'm going to know more friends. I'm going to have more friends. They're all going to want me to be a part of that. And for a little bit, they did. I got to keep up with everyone, riding around the neighborhood, going to the local 7-Eleven store and getting bubble gum, unbeknownst to my own folks. And I was thrilled. I was honored. I loved that bike. And I still have that bike to this day hanging up in the shed in my farm right now. Because once you find